Okay, are we on? Oh, we're on. Okay. Do we have light? We have light. Okay. This is Deborah Smith Parker, and she's the speaker for the August 30th, 2012 San Francisco Astrological Society meeting, and she's lecturing on Pluto in Capricorn and how Pluto basically kicks our butt.
In the United States.
In the United States chart. And so here she is, and she's going to plug what she wants to plug.
Okay. Well, I'm Deborah Smith Parker. I'm here in San Francisco, freezing my tail off as usual, but I've been here many times before, so I knew to bring a jacket.
Good.
Which is what I have on, which is not sufficient to the cold weather.
Dressed like an onion.
Right. That is here. So I would like to invite people to visit my website.
And we'll put it in the caption underneath where your website is.
I'm a practicing astrologer and have been for over 30 years. I'm also a professional writer, and I have combined those two things in articles and
in your book.
Poems and things, and my book,
and
which
here's
is
her
Humanus Astrologicus. And as I like to say, I have gone where no astrologer has gone before in terms of writing about astrology in images, because astrology is a symbolic language. Astrology is a symbolic language, and our minds are hungry for, they're very hungry for rhythm, for rhyme, for images, because that's our brain has to translate objective words and ideas into images and back and forth again.
So let me get this clear. Like since sounds and music and images come in on the right brain, and the left brain is more like ABC 1, 2, 3 linear thought, that since astrology is ostensibly an intuitive science, ruled by Uranus, and Uranus, rules intuition as well as astrology, that having astrology come to you in images is like an easier fit.
Well, the mind remembers. You only have to hear some poems once in order to remember them.
Right.
If somebody, for instance, says that, well, Taurus can be really stubborn, and it's kind of hard to get them off, you're not going to remember that. But if you do like what I had in Humanus Astrologicus, once they have determined course, they won't be moved by ox or horse. They will not sway one whit nor wobble, nor be deterred by any squabble. Or
that's very much like Old English spells. That in Old English, if you had something that rhymed, like a stitch in time saves 9, it's like they had these little rhyming jingles that was their spell.
Well, that's because, and also most people, the majority of people up until Uranus was discovered in the 17th century were illiterate. So the nation's history and their whole cultural history was usually put together, by bards and by epic poems and the things that we have to study in school, like the Aeneid and the Odyssey and all of that. Those are all those are histories, and they're in rhyme and meter, and so people remember them. Like, give another example from my book. For instance, if you say, well, Libras have to really think things over, and all of that. But if they say, let's see a show, don't grab your coat and start to go, because they must evaluate many times and then restate the reasons they would like to go, but also why they shouldn't though. And so that's, Virgo, the same thing about, let me just quickly look at it, because staring at this camera is making it not easy for me to remember it, but it's, so this is Virgo. All right, so because they always like to be precise. If things don't work, they want to change them. They'd be glad to rearrange them, and can incidentally show you how to incrementally. If a project is well analyzed, the budget's not been compromised, one may assume that ergo it is managed by a Virgo. Now, again, I get into not just the behavioral, but the mythic, like in Gemini, for instance, a part of them must always be in flight with winged Mercury, who is magician to the gods, and thus increases well the odds that his prize magical caduceus of the mind can then seduce us into thinking that what is not, and what is not is best forgot. You missed that, did you? Flew right by? You must keep up with Gemini. So
that's wonderful. So, okay, so folks, if you thought this was fun, and I thought it was fun, check out her book, and I'm going to put a link to her website, and then again, her name is Deborah Smith Parker, a very good sport, because I just shanghaied her like a drunken sailor and drug her over here to do
who's
this.
the drunken sailor?
Oh, we're both the drunken sailors here.
Okay.
Me for suggesting it, and you for putting up with it.
Okay.
And so then I'm going to let her go so she can do the talk for the night. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nora.